it's almost impossible to become an informed consumer of technology today. And there are a lot of reasons why. I mean, one of the examples I always go to is most of you, your elected representatives at every level, federal, state, local, will proudly trumpet not just that they aren't experts in technology, but that they don't understand it fundamentally. Most of you have a congressperson who will say, I don't know anything about the internet or apps. I got a nephew who's going to tell me about that. And if they said, I don't know anything about banking, I've never heard of Citibank, I'll just ask somebody, you'd be like, this person is incompetent, right? And yet you have companies that everybody's influential and it's important to culture, and they will proudly trumpet their ignorance. One, that should be unacceptable. Illiteracy about the most important forces shaping society is unacceptable. That's simple, that's basic. The fact that things are skewed so far that I have to say that is terrifying. So it's like part one. I think part two is you get into being an informed consumer. You know, if you look at, you know, I'm a geek, so I watch a movie and I go on IMDb and I say, what else did this person direct? What else, who was in there? You go to the apps that are on your phone, you don't know a single name of the people that made it. You don't know who they are, you don't know what they look like. This hurts us on inclusion and diversity in the industry. People don't know that different kinds of creators are there, that they can see somebody like that making these apps. But it also hurts us on all the things that workers have fought for in other creative industries. So you look at why people fight so hard for the credits on a film or on a movie, on a TV show, on a record album. I'm old enough to remember those. And what they wanted to be in those liner notes was getting credit for their work. And of course, this means organizing, right? And these things, like, there are no unions in the entire tech industry. And that's extraordinary when you consider that Apple and Google and the 14 biggest companies in Silicon Valley illegally colluded against their own employees to depress their wages. It's like, they're like, well, I still like Steve Jobs, even though he took money out of my kid's college fund. It's like, I can't help you at that point. And if you wanted to say, well, I prefer to buy apps, use apps from companies that treat their workers ethically, you don't even have the information to make that decision. And so these are things that, like, we have to start asking those questions, because it worked for whether there was dolphin safe tuna in that can. It worked for how many miles did that apple, you know, travel to get on all its way to the Whole Foods store. And it's like, we can be informed consumers by asking these simple questions, but we don't think about those things. We don't think about the way we consume digital technology that way, because they've taken this stance of neutrality and used it as a very effective way to say, hey, we just make the apps. It's not our fault how they play out in the world.